And boom, here we are. I'm all set. And welcome everybody and again the everybody that we all know and appreciate. So how should I call you? 42x gamer? Is that what you like to call? To be called. So today, what am I going to do? So I say the grid system. Why the grid system? Well, over time I realized that things are kind of getting out of hands. So everything started to move downwards at some point, and I think I fought for quite some time with the projection and between the projection matrix between XR and the windowed mode. So from the XR we get something like the XR FOV, which is basically a representation of the different planes in the frustum. And then these get converted into a projection matrix via this function, which gets an API parameter, and then it does some magic, I guess. It converts into the angle into tangents, and then pass it over to the next function, and it does some, yeah. I'm not quite sure what is the end space then, because it's really 42. Okay, so you are the answer to the question. X for 42x. Yeah, 42x is a bit more specific. 42, it's just a number. Okay, so Vulkan. I tried to fight against the AI for quite some time. Tried Gemini and also ChatGPT. They all keep saying something, but then the reality is that I'm not quite sure why this is pointing downwards. I mean, downwards is fine. It's just let's go down. Yeah, it feels alright, kind of. Just not sure why it is not going to the right. It looks like it's growing on the left. So according to the math, it should be growing on the right, because the coordinate system should be something like, let me open Paint, my lovely Paint, and give me this on the side. So as far as I understood, the coordinate system should be somewhat like this, in which we have that a bit bigger, please. 72? Is that too much? No, that's fine. In which we have something like the negative z going on this direction, and then this is the positive x, and yeah, not quite sure about this. I'm not super sure about that, because yeah, this should be y. It looks like it is y, because what I did coming from here on the meshing function, where is the meshing? I should add a bookmark for the meshing. So the chunk generation should be fine, because this is going to generate just a cube of blocks, and I think it's fine because it's going into the everything positive coordinate space, which is, it should be fine. I mean, it shouldn't have a coordinate space, a cube. So that's about it. Then we go to the meshing, and I'm gonna add a bookmark in here. A bookmark is F11. Let's use F11. We get the bookmark. I'm gonna call it chunk mesh. Okay, so we have a bookmark, chunk meshing. And we flip the Y. And so this is going to create something that should go downward, but if I make it go upwards, then is it even going upwards? Like, what is the head? So the head, okay, so it's the head itself is not at the 0. Okay, that's something to remember. Oh, okay. So the head itself, it is offset in position. Can I make it 0? Not really. Okay, never mind. So with the head roughly 0, why is it so low? How is this so much up in there? Okay, that's why I need a grid system, because I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Oh yeah. No. Is it? No, it's not. Because I'm just generating the first chunk. Okay, that might be an issue then. Yeah. Actually, I haven't thought too hard on this. I've been having an easy time coding on C++ so far, so it's harder than other options. Is it harder? Like, it's not really hard. The language itself, like any language, you just get used to it. It's what you try to do with the language that really kind of makes a difference. So I'm not sure what is your project? What are you trying to achieve? So this is really the easy part, because everything is everything is flat. So it's like we got the main and the render loop, and all the resources are managed here. But at some point, we want also to explore like new structures, and yeah, ECS. That's something people usually do. That should make creating new components easier. So like if you want to add physics, you don't have to hard code everything into single entities. But right now I'm just dealing with cubes, so that is not going to be a big of a deal for quite some time. I want to achieve some sort of good performance at least. And it's already struggling. So on the Quest, let's see if I can give it a go before I start messing up with the code. So I should be able to run this on the Quest and have it casted as well. Hoping it's not gonna mess up with the camera. which is also attached to the USB, and it's also an Android, so sometimes they go in conflict. Okay, so this is what I expect to be when it's not flipped. And again, I'm looking at it. It's yeah, the headset itself won't give me a real reference point because it's moving around its own reference point. So it's not very useful when dealing with spaces. So that's why I want to focus on getting a grid in. So let's see, should I create a new class? Probably. That's the same thing to do. And I'm gonna copy it from the cube class. I should start breaking these into smaller files, because right now everything is kind of mushed together into this gigantic app module. Yeah, I've always been doing C++. There are new languages now, but to be honest, it's not gonna make a huge difference anyway. So it's the language itself is just what you want to be comfortable with. It's not really gonna make you more efficient. The efficiency really comes from mastering the language itself. So the creation of a grid, okay, the vertices. The grid is gonna have, yeah, I'm gonna say a size, which is the number of components. Does C++ have JavaScript? Well, C++ doesn't have JavaScript, but you can use JavaScript inside C++, but you need to import a library that does understand JavaScript, and then it's just another script language that can be run inside your application. So it's not strictly linked to C++, but if you have a library that understands JavaScript, then you can use it inside your application, which can be written in any language, really. So it can be Java, C#, whatever, as long as there is an interpreter. And you can even write your own interpreter, even though that's a whole project by itself. So that's not going to be just a little task. And talking about it, so let's see, JavaScript engine for C++. Yeah, that's gonna be something. Yeah. So there's V8, which is the official Chrome, I think. Is it still? Yeah. It's Google's open source high performance JavaScript and WebAssembly engine written in C++. So it is written in C++. So you can see the language itself doesn't define what the result is. Documentation, beginning, let's see, building, contributing. Is there any embedding? Yeah, there is no sample on how to use it. Compiling. Yeah, no, not easy tutorials. But yeah. So what language am I using? This is C++. Kind of a subset of C++, really. I'm not using the whole feature set of C++, which is which is kind of huge. I tried to use some concepts here and there, but yeah, so I've tried exploring. Do I still have it? So yeah, this is the concept of the vertex type, which is just a bunch of requirements, just so I can have the template of that kind of concept, but it's not really an extensive use of it. All right, back to the grid. So we're going to call it grid, which is going to have a vertex buffer, an index buffer, and it's going to create it by size. So we have the vertices. I want to yeah, let me start with the one, just a quad to begin with. So this is going to be a quad. We need 4 back, front. So for the quad, I just want the bottom. Well, I could reuse this whole cube thing. And I'm going to remove the front, the back, and the top. And I'm just going to leave the bottom side. And that should already be a grid. So this, I'm going to rename it to create grid cube index buffer. This is going to be the grid index buffer and the grid vertex buffer. This is the name of the object that I'm creating, which helps me when I'm debugging. So this is the debug name. And okay, so that should be all I need. I just have to go in the allocation of the generation of the chunks and change the set it is using. Where is it being generated? Sectors. Okay, here. So there is the set index at some point, and this set index will be used in the drawing process here, and this is the index of the data that is sent to the GPU. I want to reserve a bunch of them, so 3 of them. Yeah, I want to reserve 3 of them just for the grid and the controllers. I've commented out the controllers for a little while. These are the controllers, but I still don't need them. But I want to reuse this commented code to draw the cube, which I had somewhere. So this is the cube, and I'm gonna rename it to grid. So the cube is gonna be the grid. Create the cube object is gonna be create the grid object. And it is of a type of a grid. We said we needed a size, but that's not really used so far. And there it is. I have a grid object that we just need to draw here. So the object should be created because the code is already set and tested. I'm not going to test it again. But the drawing happens here. And where is the reference to the object? Vertex. No, this one was not drawing the cube. This one was for the terrain, which was just a raw vertex buffer. Instead, I want to copy it from here. So this is more like it, or actually even from here. Drawing grid. Okay, so we got the grid. We go and retrieve the vertex buffer and vertex buffer offset. Where does this come from? Bind buffer. The offset is here. Okay. It's gonna clash in name, so I want to also put it in the scope. Yeah. So I'm gonna put it in the scope so that names won't clash together. And grid, replacing the old names. Okay, for the set, I'm gonna use the set at index 0 for the grid. And this will also be reflected in the update function. So from the solid flat shader, which is the shader that I've implemented in here. So this is a class that really encapsulate the shader module, and it has all the things that that are required for the shader. Grab the uniform object and send an update command. But this update command, it's gonna update the chunks, but the chunks, I want them to start from the index 3. And I'm gonna manually do the update for the other indices. So update grade, and that's going to look like these ones, except for the index, which is going to be 0. And instead of the chunk, I'm going to use the grid. The grid doesn't have a transform, but the grid transform really is 0. And the grid, it's gonna be identity. Yeah, I don't want it to move. So identity of mat4. And what is the color? I want the grid to be, yeah, let's try red, very bright red. Is it selected? Selected really doesn't apply, so I don't want it to be selected. Let's leave it at false. And that should be all I need. Let's give it a go. First, I want to disable the simulator. So set the execution policy to allow scripts to be run in this process. And then I'm gonna run deactivate. That should be a deactivate PowerShell. Yes, run it. And this is going to remove the runtime for the simulator and restore the old one for the MetaQuest link. And that should be it. So this should run now in a windowed mode, which will make it a bit easier for me to test things out. Dot break. Please don't break things. Okay, so I'm really above it. So it looks like, where am I? So I'm looking forward, and then this is kind of, yeah, I'm on top of it from the center, which looks good. Okay, that's pretty good already. But instead of being so, let's play around with the coordinates, because 0 is really easy to deal with. So I want it to span from 0 to 1 rather than being centered. And instead of using what there is already, I'm gonna create a new bunch of data, which is 0, 0, 0. So this is going to be the first vertex. And the plan is that I'm gonna have the plane set up like this. And the vertices, this is a 0 vertex. Let's go to A. Then this is gonna be B. And this is C. And this is D. And the first triangle is gonna look like, yeah, I want it to be split in here. And also make sure that the winding is clockwise. So this needs to turn this way, and this needs to turn this way. We will then have the first polygon, which is going to be A, B, and C. So this is going to be A, B, and C. Where do I put this? Well, where did it go? Whoops, I lost it. And Control Z is not working. How do I get back? Whatever. This is going to be A, B, C. And this will be A, C, and D. A, C, D. A, C, D, C. Da, 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 da. Yeah, let's not get distracted. And the W component, because it's a floating point 4. So that's the first vertex, which is going to be placed at 0, 0, 0, 0. Let me also place the coordinates reference, which I want to make green. So this will be, can I make arrows? There are very lame arrows. Let's try, they will always be pointing to the same direction, so they are useless. Yeah, I should probably use a better program rather than paint. So this is it. This is gonna be X, and that's gonna be Y. And we don't really need, no, that's gonna be Z, and then we don't really need any Y. Why would you need Y? So for the sake of documentation, this is gonna be plus X, hopefully. That's gonna be plus X, and this will be some Z. Is this gonna be negative Z? Who knows? Well, let's say that this should be negative Z at least. It should be negative Z. And this, you still have to figure out, but I suspect this is positive y. Cool. So a is 0, 0, 0, and we're gonna make it what's the color of it? Do we give it a color? Yeah, let's match 0, 0, 0, 1. I'm gonna match it with the same, with the position. So the second one moves upwards in Z. So, well, upwards, downwards, really. So that's gonna be 0, x, y, and z. I want it to be -1. And the color, yeah, the colors cannot be negative, so this is gonna be 1 instead. The third one is going to be C1 and also X1. So X is going to be 1, 0, and a -1, not 1. And the color in this case is going to be 0, no, 1, 0, 1, and 1 for the alpha. And finally, the last one, the D, that is just moving in the X, and everything else is 0. And this should look red. Whoa, that was hard. And that's pretty much it. Let's go with indices. Then we want 0, 1, 2, 0. Yes, exactly that one. 0, 1, 2, and then 0, 2, 3. Yes, just like that. Testing, testing, testing. Yeah. Yeah, see notifications, but I don't have anything to look at them now right now. Where am I? So where is it actually? Where did it go? Well, it should be somewhere. Where is everything right now? Ah, okay. Something appeared from out of nowhere. Oh, okay, because I have backface calling. So where are you? Oh boy, this is so hard. Why? What? Yeah, I think we are overlapping, so that's the problem. I'm gonna move the camera then. So the camera is at, no, actually, let me move this X, Y. So we don't know where the Y is pointing at, so I'm gonna move it, I don't know, 2 steps, 2 meters in the positive Y. And see where the positive Y actually is. If it's going down, then we have the positive axis that it's going down. And it's not going down. It is going up. Okay, so if I make it -1, that should definitely go down. Is the chunk loading failing? No, this is me trying to figure out what is the coordinate system, because the chunk it's working. It's just that when I load it into the headset, then it's the cubes are hollow. So and it's also different in location because the matrices are generated differently. Okay, so negative is going down. So this is expected to be, what is it expected? Like this is not really expected. According to the matrix generation, what is this? Don't remember. So I wanted a right-handed with 0 to 1. Right-handed 0 to 1. Let's see if this makes any difference. Okay, it is still down, which means that we are using a right-handed. So what are you testing? If you're testing, you need to give context. Who is testing? Me testing? So that is fine, okay? Is it gonna match the OpenXR runtime then? Let's activate the runtime and see if it's still, the plane is still there in the same location. Okay, so it is kind of consistent. I'm gonna take a screenshot actually. The colors seem a bit off. So I'm going to take a screenshot, keep it in there, deactivate the simulator, and run it again. And it looks like the same. So I would call it the success. But this only means that the y is correct. So it is going up. So y is up because if negative goes down, then positive goes up. And z is correctly going inside. So we do have consistent thing, and x is going right ways. That is correct, because x was red, and this is glowing red going to the right. And our let me change the coordinates names according to their colors. So this is going to be x is red. X is always red, and then z is blue. Is this blue? Whoa, what a nasty blue. Can I have real blue? Yeah, this is a real blue. A little bigger. Why so small? Okay, this is beefy. Love it. 1, 2, and RGB. Red, green, blue. Okay, so Y is green. Red, green, and blue. So this is the coordinate system I'm gonna be using, and yeah, that seems to be working. So we are on what are we on a right-handed coordinate system with y up. So this is right-handed, and what does that mean, right? If you're curious about it, right-handed coordinate system. So this is what it looks like. Y hands, well, if you can twist your hand like that, then you can make sense of that. But the right-handed just means that it matches what we have currently. So right-handed means that you're gonna make, so this is gonna be X, Y, and the Z is gonna grow backwards. And that's what right-handed means. Yeah, different pictures show different ways of doing this. But I think one would just eventually go and Google it and look at the picture, or just take note somewhere. Okay, so this is correct. Now back to the chunks. By the way, where did the chunk end up? Did I disable it? No, I didn't disable it, so why is it gone? My chunks are gone. And why is it that I start from 3? I is not needed, so I could just for each const chunk reference. So I can just range loop over the chunks and say that this chunk dot set index. Where is the set? Descriptor set index. Or even simpler, I'm gonna const oh boy, const size ti equals to chunk index count. No, descriptor set index. No, not this one. Okay, and I don't need about this loop anymore. This should do exactly what I need. And I also have to re-enable the chunks loading. Whoops, okay. What happened there? Need to go in debug mode. So you have left-handed, no, it's right-handed. Why do you say left-handed? We have right-handed. No, it's, I mean, this is negative Z, right? Maybe that was the confusion. So if this is negative Z, then it means that this is positive Z. So I'm gonna put the arrows green. So this is the arrow. And red, this is the arrow of the positive number. So this is just the axis. But when I'm creating a plane that has the coordinate where this is 0 and yeah, let's say x0 and y is not y, z0, and this is x1 and z0, and then this is x0 and z minus 1. So this is why it looks correct, because the z was minus 1. If I make it positive, then it will be growing this direction, which is obviously not very intuitive. The whole thing is not very intuitive anyway. But once you set it and you know how to call things, it's a bit easier. Okay, so let's go back to the debugging. And I let it stop where it breaks. I'm gonna hit retry, and this already tells me that it's inside a vector. I'm probably trying to access something that doesn't yet exist, which is, so I is 3, and the object transform, yeah, what's the problem then? This has 2048 indices, okay. Chunks. Oh, okay, so I'm still trying to index by I, while I should convert it to range based with the reference. So I had to update this to use the reference to the object rather than indexing through a different index, which is why it crashed. And if I try again, I'm confident it will not crash. That's why I'm not debugging it anymore. That's the amount of confidence I have now. Yeah, it didn't crash. But where's my terrain? It even says that it's traveling to sector. Where is everyone? Where is everybody? Did I forget? I probably forgot to update something. So I'm gonna break here in the chunks loading. And I pushed the wrong button. Well, let me instead show you a very cool trick, RenderDoc. So RenderDoc is this really amazing application that allow you to debug the graphics of something. So you just run your application, and it already injected itself into the drawing, and it's already customizing the drawing, so it can give you also the frame rate. That's pretty nice. I can capture a whole frame and then close the application. I don't need it anymore, and this will open me the capture file. And inside the capture file, I will have all the different commands that I've executed for a single frame. So this is a frame 1038, and the capture started here because it was able to recognize after the presentation of the earlier frame that this is the start of a new frame. And so what happens at the beginning matches exactly what I did, which is at the beginning of the rendering, which is here, the render function, I do an update of the per frame constants. So going into the shaders, I can see that, wait, where is, yes, here. So these are the structures that I declared in the shaders. Yeah, render doc. With render doc, you can even capture frames from other games. That's really cool. Sometimes you will find articles around the web, the development blogs that analyze games, and that's really cool to see a breakdown of how some of the iconic games used to work. So what I declared is per frame constant, which is just the view and projection matrix, which will not change across the whole frame because the camera is fixed, and for now, unless you're doing other camera stuff. So what it does is it copies this data into the buffer, and which is what I'm seeing here, right? It issues a copy command and another copy command for so this is the uniform per frame. It copies this data and then it copies the per object, which is what is happening here. So this is the second call. And once we have done with that, we go by drawing. So this is where the render pass begins. I should have a render pass begin somewhere. Okay, here it is. So this is the beginning of the actual rendering. So the render pass sets the pipeline to begin drawing, and there is a draw index with 36 indices, which looks like a cube. Wait, why is it 36 in the first place? There are no 36. Because I'm still using arrays and vertex input 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. There should be 4. And this should be 6. Okay, so that was one mistake already. And then it is drawing 2800 vertices, like somewhere. And a cool thing that I can do is going into the pipeline of this command and inspect either the vertex buffer. I can easily see what are the vertex buffer, as well as the index buffer. Okay, that's fairly simple, but it's not really gonna tell me what is being drawn. But then there's a mesh view, which is super cool, and it looks like nothing is happening. But if you change the control system, okay, the camera settings, then you can see that we have the mesh that is being intercepted, and I think you can even like save this mesh. I don't remember how you do that, but you can export this mesh. Oh, here it is. Yeah, you can even export this mesh as a byte or something else. And this is the mesh. So it is somewhere, but where is the camera? Okay, no, there's no camera here, but because this is in its object space, so this is where it got defined. So when I defined it, this is how it was defined. I can even go back to see the plane. So this is how it got defined. It doesn't have axes here, does it? Where are the axes? Why are the axes so far away? Oh yeah, because I've offset it to be down. Okay, you can also see it from here. So the coordinate space. This is hard to navigate though. Whatever. So I need to move. Yeah, it's hard to. The arcball navigation system is really hard. Maybe I can do it like this. Not really. Whatever. Let's go back to the arc ball. So you can also see that Y should be going up. Instead, I've made the vertices go down a bit, and then they are growing in the negative Z, which is correct, and in the positive X. So everything matches, but let's see when they get transformed into the camera space, where they are. So that's the camera, and my vertices are here. So I'm looking at there, and it is just downwards. So it should be downwards. If I look downwards, then I should see it. But having no horizon, it kind of makes it hard to see where I'm looking at. Okay, so I was panning upwards. So this is... Oh no, wait. I didn't want to see the plane. I wanted to see this one. Where is it? Okay, I suspect that the matrix for this drawing is wrong. So it might be getting squished real hard somewhere. Yeah, so it's nowhere near the... Oh, okay, that's very clear already from here. So this is the input vertex, and after being manipulated by the shader, the vertex shader, which transforms it to be in the camera view, but they happen to be transformed all into zeros. So if everything is at 0, then nothing gets drawn because it's just a singularity. So there is for sure something wrong with the matrix. And we got a view index. What is this? Vertex shader. So I want the vertex shader. And in the vertex shader, we should have the object matrix. So this is the object matrix, and it's clearly all zeros. We got the object called, everything is 0, so that is not what we wanted. And that is probably because of how we sent the data to the update function. I think I know what is happening here. Updating chunks, drawing, just right before drawing. So the chunk size, okay, this is using the chunk size. And we want a span that starts from, we don't want to update the whole like 1024 items. We are just using from 0 and then up to whatever chunks plus 3, because the chunks start as 3, and I just need to say, okay, update till chunks, and also add 3 for the reserved ones. So that should lead to something working. And indeed, it is working. So this is the plane of reference, and somehow... Okay, so the space is correct, and the chunk is wrong. I didn't expect the chunk to be wrong. Why is it so wrong? So I spent really a lot of time trying to figure out why this is not being drawn correctly, but then the chunk itself is wrong. Which kind of makes me happy because at least I know that the space itself is correct. So at least I can go back to where I was before here. So what is happening here? Now the z of course needs to be negative and not the y. Maybe I can just figure it out like this and have it fixed in no time. That would be very nice if this was the case. And boom, magically everything works. That would save me so much time. Oh my gosh. And that worked. I can't believe that worked. Oh boy. This is the best day of my life. Well, let's enable the other chunks as well and see how everything explodes. But yeah, so far, so good. Chunks generation, not that generation. Chunks update. Okay, need to go to the update function, and here I told it to basically generate every 1 million frame. How many is? Every 100,000. Let's generate one chunk every 100 frames. That should make it a bit more interesting. After a few seconds, some more should pop up. Okay, boom. Okay, that's nice. I feel like they are pointing in the wrong direction though. Yeah, no, actually, let's just remove this constraint and generate every frame. I don't want to wait. Also, I wanted to generate chunks that really contain data. So what happened earlier is that it was generating all of these empty air chunks, which made the generation a bit slower. But now it should only break when something has been really generated, if the index count. So if there are actual triangles in the data. Okay, that is way faster, and it looks correct, even though it should not disappear like that. Maybe I should put some vertical. Oh wait, what? This is a bit aggressive. Yeah, it's a bit too aggressive. And maybe in the generation I should specify that I want more neighbors. Let's say 4 neighbors. So it's gonna be 5 times 5 times 5 cube. And I also made every chunk a bit smaller, which is gonna be 8 by 8. Okay. Where am I? Okay. However, this space is a bit too much random. Why is it so random? Ah, yeah, because having reduced the number of blocks in each chunk, now it looks a bit more pixelated. If you can define, if you can say pixelated to a voxel engine, much more voxelated. Can you say voxelate? What is happening? Why 2 of them? Who told you to open 2 of them? Stop. I don't want to my GPU to freak out. So there is one bug in the back of my head, which is that sometimes everything okay, it's now it's going super slow. What happened here? Things are kind of lagging now. But what is happening here? Oh. Weird. Did I mess something with the coordinates? X and Y. Yeah, I definitely have messed something with the coordinates, and I think X, Y, and Z, that looks fine. The colors, okay. Are they flipped? Could it be that they are flipped? Just lagging a little now. Yeah. Oh, no data. Okay. Maybe I'm taking too much resources. Yeah. Yeah, that should be back now. But it was taking too much resources from the encoding. Okay, should be back to a stable. And why is that? Because this super smart is using my integrated. Why are you using the integrated? So integrated is being used for encoding. Maybe I should use a CPU at this point. So let's go to the performance. GPU 0 is working hard. GPU 1 is also somehow working. Yeah, everything is working hard to keep the stream. Also 4K stream maybe is a bit too much to ask. But my screen is 4K, so I also forgot to enlarge the text. I'm not sure if this was readable the whole time, but I'm gonna make it a tiny bit smaller. Yeah, like this. 20 doesn't really fit much into my view. So anyway, it was let me quickly check why it's picking the wrong GPU. So create device. You need to head over the create device here, and there should be a place where it tries to find the proper device. Actually, there should be an enumerate physical device somewhere. Okay, so it's trying to find the proper physical device. And I said if filter by device type is not discrete. Right. Okay, I purposely selected the integrated because I removed, yeah, I've done the wrong check there. If I run it again, it should this time be using the NVIDIA GPU and not the Radeon. And I should see some activities here. Okay. There's not really much happening, which is good. Means that okay, there's some more activity here. Oh boy, what is this? Okay, stop everything before it crashes my PC. So I've seen that happening sometime, and it's bad in the sense that it's not great. So there is some semaphore issues. It's being signaled by VKQ, but it may still be in use. Here are the most recently acquired indices. 1, 2, 0, 1. Why is this? This because what? Wait. Why is it like this? Render semaphore of 1 is being signaled by that queue, but it may still be in use by the vCare swap chain. Here are the most recently acquired indices. 0, 1, 1. Wait, what? What? Why would you do that? 0, 1, 1. Okay, so it's not giving me the indices in a rotational way. How could you give me the same index twice? The VK semaphore presentation operation swap chain image 2 was presented but was not reacquired. Will not be safely reused. Why would you give me the same index twice? Use a separate semaphore per swap chain image. These semaphores using the index to be acquired. Consider maintenance 1. It allows VK fence with the presentation operation. Okay. Swap chain maintenance. Use a separate semaphore per swap chain image, which is what I'm doing. Which is already what I'm doing. But does this even happen again? Will this happen again? Because if it happens again, then I'll be able to test it more efficiently. Okay. It is happening. It keeps happening. Let's see if the problem is, yeah, okay. Here's the most recent 0, 0, 0 acquired indices. 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 2, 0, 0. What? Okay, brackets mark the last use of semaphore. Okay, so this being used. Swap chain image 1 was presented but was not reacquired. So VK okay. No, this is not okay. and we are in the windowed mode. So in the windowed mode, let me jump to the present function. Here we have the present index, which is not the same as the swap chain index. It is not the same as a swap chain index. And also there is a semaphore index. Why two? Is it even gonna make any difference anyway? So that's a fence, and that's the that's the command. That's fine. Then there is a present command, but then the semaphore. Okay, the semaphore should probably use the presentation, the swap chain index. Let's try it like that. Swap chain index. Wait, swap chain, okay. Uninitialized. Wait, is this uninitialized? Okay, stop everything. Stop. How do I stop this? Okay, whatever. You can crash if you want. Yeah, of course it was going to crash. So where does the swap chain? Okay, the swap chain is acquired here. Acquire next image, and it should wait on what? It cannot wait on itself, can it? Because we still need to acquire it. This is puzzling. Should it be just 0? It is uninitialized. Well, the first time you shouldn't even be waiting. Oh yeah, that should be the old semaphore index. Yeah, that should be the old one. The old one. Yes, because it hasn't been incremented, so you should wait for the old one. The current. Yeah, let's say the current. Could just be like 0. I don't know, just making things up at this point. And your end 32. So the semaphore index is going to be, what is it going to be? Yeah, because we don't really have, well, it needs to be the old one. And if there is no old one, it should not wait on anything. Yeah, that might work. Just have to go back to the definition of that. Where was it? No. So if I comment it out, it's not able to find it anymore. Yeah, so right here. And then back to the present. Semaphore index should be, can't be -1. So it's gonna be -1 now. And if it's negative, then there's no semaphore. Otherwise, there is. And the semaphore index is just going to be the acquired. Swap chain index. I don't know. Let's see. This is a very sus code. I will have to refactor this code as well because it's compiling everything every time. Okay, well, that didn't work. And it didn't work because to acquire next semaphore, semaphore and fence are both null. Must not be both. Oh, thanks. So what should I do then? Just keep the index to 0. Well, that's just going to be returning to the block 0, like it's like I haven't done anything. Back to square 0. Okay. Well, I don't want to bother too much with this, so I will just try random things and hope my PC won't explode. And neither the stream. Yeah, this is where it gets a bit boring. So it's just things not working correctly. Okay, something was running for a little while, and then a signal is being signaled by, but it may still be in use. What does that mean? What does it mean? It may still be in use. So it's been signaled but may still be in use. What does it mean? Here are the most recently acquired image indices. Brackets mark the last use of the semaphore in a presentation operation. Swap chain image 0 was presented but was not reacquired. So weakest semaphore may still be in use. And cannot be safely reused with image index 1. Well, I guess this is a different problem. So let's go back to where we were at the beginning. Okay, up to this point. Acquire. Let's give it a go. By the way, where does it crash? I'll be curious to see where it crashes. No, it doesn't. It doesn't really crash. Is it because it's doing lots of work? It doesn't make much of a sense. Well, I guess that's about it for today. It was a bit of a success on one side and a bit of a fall on another side. But this seems to be a quite serious problem because it's messing up with the rendering. And even though it doesn't happen often, but only in the case of the generation here. Yeah, because once it's done generating, then it seems to be fine. There it is. Okay, generating is done. And it's not gonna repeat the same error. Like now it's okay again. Did it happen because I moved the window? So if I hold the window, maybe I also hold the messaging system. And then when I release it, okay. So there is something that happens when the frame gets delayed. Yeah, it's every time I move the window, that happens again. Like if I touch it, then it's fine. And if I hold it for a few seconds, even more. Oh, no, it's not happening anymore. Okay, so that was not. And yeah, let's fix this tomorrow, shall we? Otherwise, it's progressing pretty good. Cool. See you tomorrow, everybody. Have a nice day or have a good night, whatever time you're leaving in. It's gonna be day for me, so this is the start of my day. And see you on Discord. Bye bye.